Recently, Uber CEO Travis Kalanick was caught on a dash cam arguing with an Uber driver. The article does not highlight the driver as an employee of the company, but as a user of the software program that Uber provides. They argue over the price of fares on the app, and the CEO criticizes the driver as someone who doesn't like to take responsibility for their own stuff, but using a more descriptive word when using stuff. The driver blaming his problems on someone else and using external factors. Kalanick later released a statement apologizing, stating he was ashamed and that he needs to learn how to behave in a way that makes everyone in the company proud of him. That he needed to change as a leader and grow up. He highlights that this is the first time he has been willing to admit he needs leadership help in his role as Uber CEO. The article also goes on to explain Uber's rough year of the Delete Uber hashtag during the Trump's campaign and pulling self-driving cars out of the San Francisco area due to unlicensed authority in the area. Also, their recent head of engineering recently resigning over the leaks of sexual harassment from his former employer, Alphabet. The article also highlights the lowering of fares and Kalanick's reputation for being ferociously competitive, but his changes to root out people who are making Uber a bad place to work. The article ties into Chapter 10 of Module 2 in conflict. Conflict occurs when one party perceives that its interests are being opposed or negatively affected by another party. The escalation of conflict grew from a change in Uber's tactics to drop fares, to the number of issues growing as fares drop year after year due to Kalanick's aggressive strategies, and issues moving from specific to general as fares drop dramatically in Uber Black drivers. In this case, the driver had unmet expectations in terms of pay and inadequate communication coming from Uber and Kalanick on explaining why the fares dropped occurred. This is an example of dysfunctional conflict where the organization's interests were threatened and there was a lack of mutual respect from either parties during the conflict. In this case, it is best to use this conflict as an opportunity for Kalanick to think about before lowering his fares next time. The author highlights a lot of points on the rough water that Uber has gone through and highlights what Kalanick is doing to improve Uber. Kalanick is seeking leadership and organization skills and meeting with female employees to address the morale after the former software engineer sexual harassment case. The author quotes Kalanick using words like empathize and commitment, showing his passion to get his company back on track after the recent downfall of social issues. It highlights Uber's cultural values in toe-stepping and Kalanick's not afraid to admit when his idea is not the best for the company. I think that the quick action for Kalanick to take responsibility for what he said and owning up to his mistakes highlight a lot about his maturity as a leader. This is a guy a few years ago who was caught publicly speaking on his company's ability to gain him higher interest from women and addressing his company as a company called Boober, to addressing crises head on now. His statements after the conflict give his employees and drivers a higher sense of trust after the video has leaked. These new skills embraced by Kalanick will help him fill more into his role and serve those expected behaviors for the members of his organizations.